What is a test run to a test run?
A Tesla.
Hey, look at that. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Unscripted Exchanges. I'm your host, Hayden Huber, and alongside me is the greatest co-host of them all.
Oh, you flatter me. I'm Cole Hazenfield.
I'm doing my best over here. You know, I'm working on our intros.
You know what? It's getting crisp.
Hey,
it's crisp like apple crisps.
Wait for this. Yeah,
I love it.
Now we're talking.
I feel like Joe Burrow when we won that fucking game against the Titans.
Yeah,
like
how about
give me
Bengals?
some fucking claps.
Let's go. We are pumped up tonight over here at Unscripted Exchanges headquarters, and we've got some fire content to discuss.
The HQ. Like, yeah, we've got some fire content. I want to jump back into the Bengals real quick. Like, you're forgetting that we predicted this was going to happen.
I know.
I mean, if you go back to last week, I think, and I'll have to was it a week ago or two? Yeah, it had to be last week, right? We were talking about, we were just pretty hyped up. We underplayed it, but we did say the Bengals were going to win.
Yes, we did.
You're welcome, Cincinnati.
You're a modern day Nostradamus.
Yeah, Nostradamus. I mean, I wouldn't call my... You know, that reminds me, dude, you should hear my dad talk about Nostradamus. It's so bad. He literally, when he found out about Nostradamus, way behind everybody else. Everybody else already knew about all these predictions Nostradamus had made. But he always catches on to things after you've already gotten excited about, or interested in it, and then nobody's excited about it anymore because, everybody knows about it. Then he's like, have you heard of this guy Nostradamus? He's predicting everything. And you're like,
so he's 6 years behind. Is what
he
you're
literally
saying.
He gets all excited about it, and he's sending me all these articles and all these different things he's predicting. I'm like, already, yeah. I want to be enthusiastic with you,
right?
But that enthusiasm has come. I've embraced it. I've hugged the enthusiasm.
Yeah.
I've gotten it out of my system. Now you're just irritating me.
Yeah.
Because you're 7 years behind everybody else.
Well, maybe he does it to irritate you too.
No, he doesn't. No, it's genuinely
yeah.
that excited about it.
Well, hey, teach their own.
Teach their own.
Yeah, look at that. We're on the same page for once.
Hey, we're on the same page.
I guess we do make halfway decent hosts together.
Let's just wrap this episode up. We're on the same.
And that's it, everyone. That's a 30-minute or a 30-second conversation brought to you by Hayden and Cole from Unscripted Exchanges.
Well, I want to make another prediction about KC before
KC.
Kansas City.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was playing dumb just for folks that might not know.
All I'm saying is I definitely don't want to see Patrick Mahomes' brother doing whatever the hell he does on the field.
A little TikTok?
Yeah, he's just...
Well, remember what happened to Juju. The Bengals don't take too kindly
is he even in the league anymore?
Dances.
I don't even know. But I want to make a prediction on, very specifically, the score.
Of course.
49-46.
Jeez, that's
Bengals.
a high-scoring game. Okay.
That's going to be a shootout. It's going to be a shootout. I'm not saying the Bengals defense is going to play poorly. I'm saying that Kansas City is going to pop off. But Joe Burrow and Joe Mixon and T. Higgins and Tyler and that whole team, they're going to pop off too. Now, this O-line shit better be fixed because that was a big problem.
Yeah, 9 sacks. Can't have that happen
No,
again.
that was we were all getting irritated with Joe for taking those sacks, but I mean, he had no time. So I'm like 49-46. Joe Mixon, 127 yards, 44, and that's rushing. 127 rushing, one rushing touchdown, two rushing touchdowns.
Wow, you've given this some real thought.
Two rushing touchdowns, 44 yards receiving, 4 catches, 1 dropped ball.
Okay, all right.
I'm not predicting anybody else's stats. But that's my prediction for.
We'll see if you're a modern day Nostradamus. Like I said, I'll make this quick and easy. I'm going to go 38-35 Bengals heading to the Super Bowl. But we'll have to run the tapes back and see if our predictions hold true.
I'm going to lose it. If we go to the Super Bowl, you know how big that'll be?
It's going to be so amazing for the city.
When we go to the Super Bowl.
Much better. I like it. All righty. Should we dive into the main course tonight?
The main course, the entree.
Yeah, we were just dabbling around with a little bit of an appetizer there.
Yeah, the entree levu or something like. No, that's not a word.
Nice try.
Yeah, I did.
Hey, you know me, I make up words too. So
entree levu, voulez-vous? Okay.
Hey, let's get on into some good stuff here. So I know you and I were talking off camera here just about marketing and sales, and definitely wanted to pick your brain a little bit more on, both. But starting with sales, because that's kind of the area that you're in today. What would you say makes a good salesperson, whether that's a salesman or a saleswoman? Like, what traits do you need in order to be successful?
You threw up a softball for me there.
Hey, that's
I've
what
given
I'm,
this a lot of
I'm
thought.
Here. That's what I'm here for.
By the way, I'm always selling. Okay.
Amen.
And so I'm going to start off with my mantra or my philosophy on sales, and I'll tell you what I believe makes a good salesperson, sales professional, whatever you want to call it. The first thing, or account manager, or enterprise executive. There's like 15 different names.
Fancy terms, yeah.
All these different names for somebody that's selling stuff.
Titles mean only so much these days.
No, they're ridiculous. But I think my philosophy on sales in general is, I read this book by Grant Cardone, Sell or Be Sold. Fantastic book. Grant Cardone's a badass too, by the way. I mean, questionable.
Is this the guy that's got a whole bunch of real estate and
a real estate tycoon? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, very motivational, very just with it, successful. But
I've seen a small amount of his content.
He's energetic. He's go getter. But he read this book, Sell or Be Sold, and one of the underlying themes, or not even underlying, he fucking says it, is you're always selling something in life. Everybody's a salesperson. Everybody is pushing an agenda, trying to get somewhere. And so I've really taken that to heart, because, you've got, it doesn't matter if like you're a doctor, you're a teacher, you're a product manager, you are a kid in high school, it doesn't matter what aspect of life you're in. At some point and throughout several points throughout your life, you're going to want something. You're going to want to go, you're going to buy something, sell something, like whether, get a better grade, get a better job. You're selling something. You are
telling mom that you want to stay out late.
Telling mom you want to stay out late, asking for an extra cookie. There's a million different ways in life that we're selling ourselves, whether it's our personalities. You can't go on a date and not sell yourself to your date. You can't go on a first date and be just be a fucking Debbie Downer.
Well,
you got to sell the good parts.
Are you saying though that you got to act like someone you're not?
No, sales isn't about acting like someone you're not, but you got to get what you want.
Okay,
no.
All right.
You are though. You're going on a date. You're trying to make them be impressed, right? You don't go on a date going, I don't want to impress. I don't want to impress my date. I don't want to make them feel special. You go on a date going, I want to take them to a really nice restaurant. The first date, nice restaurant or a good movie.
First impressions.
I want to dress nice.
Mm-hmm.
I want to have a good conversation.
Yep.
All of this stuff is selling. You're trying to sell them on going on a second date with you. If the first date goes terrible, you're not going on a second date. So I totally believe in that you are everybody's a salesperson at some point in their life, not all of life, but so that's my first kind of philosophy for you.
And I think, just to jump in real quick, you could also use the word marketing to some extent. As people think about, how do I market myself? There's definitely a strong correlation with marketing and sales. Is basically what I'm getting at.
Well, 100%.
Yeah.
Because marketing, you're marketing yourself. You're selling yourself.
Does our production manager need to come over there and fix the?
No,
the mic?
I'm just getting it comfortable.
He's been working hard on the studio and he just can't seem to get it right. But hey, I think the audio is working.
Jimmy, you're fired. Get your ass out of here. No, I'm kidding. But no, I think there's a big correlation. So I got some questions for you on that. But that is my philosophy on sales. And then I think to answer your question about what I think makes a salesperson successful is, I'm going to backtrack. We've all heard it before. I've heard it a lot in my life. As your listeners and people that do know me, you're a talker. I'm a talkative guy. I'm a very energetic, social person. So I've always heard.
I would have never guessed.
Yeah, surprise. Hey, everybody. No, I've always gotten this. Well, you're a natural born salesperson. People say, "Oh, you're a great sales guy." I'm like, I mean, thanks, but I don't think you're born a natural salesperson.
Right.
I think you can be born. You can be more social or less social.
Sure.
100%. Doesn't mean you're a born salesperson. It means you might like people and you like to talk. I like to talk. That's not what made me. That's not what's made me successful in sales. What's made me successful in sales is the amount of effort you put in, the motivating factors that go into that, and then also the ability to look at different solutions, different ideas and things, and tie them together. So I just want to get that out there. So I think I have three things that make a successful, I believe, a successful salesperson, that make them, that mold them, that you're not born one. It's one, hustle, and and kind of like coinciding with that is being motivated by money. I think if you're not motivated to some extent by money in the sales profession, whether you call yourself a account manager or an enterprise account executive or there's like a million inside sales rep. I mean, there's a million different sales positions that don't call sales reps now. I don't know if you've seen that on LinkedIn. I have like probably 15 friends that are in sales roles that their title doesn't have the word sales in it.
Yeah.
But account executive or account manager, you're still selling something. So I think that's one. I think being motivated by money, because in a sales role, the more you sell, the more money you make. So you got to be motivated to sell more of whatever it is you're selling to make that more money. You've got, just like in product management or other fields where you're tracked by your successes in sales, you're also tracked by how much you're selling for the company. So if you're not hitting those quotas, you're not going to have a job. But if you're hitting those quotas, the money goes up. So I think being motivated by money is, people don't like to say that these days. Like, oh, you shouldn't just be motivated. Well, that's not what I'm not saying only be motivated by money, but you got to want to make some money. And you can make a lot of money. You can be very wealthy being in a sales profession. I mean, very, very wealthy.
I put a slight twist on that. Totally agree. And this is where, I'm a aspiring.
Expired.
He's expired. It could be expired here. You never know.
Just like Jimmy over there.
I might get whacked tonight on my way out of the studio.
Jimmy, get out of here.
Cole's like, I've had enough of that Hayden guy.
He's expired.
But aspiring marketing professional is what I'm trying to spit out there. But I would say, instead of being motivated by sales or selling, like I get that, but maybe I would, for me personally, if I'm trying to put something on my resume or I'm trying to just have a conversation, I'd say that I'm very motivated to drive value for my customers or for the company, as well as myself, because it's mutually beneficial. So I just put a slight twist on some of the
for your role, yeah, but for your role, yeah, but for a sales role, like, I've interviewed sales reps before, and if they don't tell me that they're motivated by money, like, I don't want them.
Sure.
I don't want them, because I want you to want to make more money. I want you to want to make as much money as you can, because then I know that you understand that the more effort you put in, the more output, the more results you get. Again, it's not, oh, I just need the green. You got to. There's reasons why people are motivated by money.
Money is the motive.
Yeah. You should do a little dance, baby. So I think that's one. I think two is being able to ask good questions and listen.
Ooh, I like that.
I think that's crucial. I say that because, and I'm still working on being a better question asker, but you've got to be able to ask questions and pull information out of people. And that's something you can practice. That's not something that you're born with the ability to, again, ask questions.
Right.
No. Like, you have a genuine curiosity. If you have a genuine curiosity about people and about situations and about things going on, and then you can start asking the right questions. I think so. I would say a good question asker, more like a curious.
You sound like me. I'm rubbing off on you. Spitting out some of these words.
This is my mission today. My mission. You got to be curious. You got to have a genuine curiosity to figure things out, especially a curiosity in people. Because when you're curious about people, then somebody takes a meeting with you, you're going to be interested to understand, why are you taking this meeting? What is going on in your world that I can help out with? And then you kind of go down those ventures. So I think that's huge. And also a big part of the sales process is, one, introduction. Mm-hmm. I mean, this is you can read, first of all, most sales books are full of shit. I've read a lot of them, but calling a spade. They always they make stuff up. But you got introduction. It's anything in life. introduction, discovery. This is why I say sales attributes to everywhere, right? You introduce yourself.
Yep.
So whether it's on a date or in a business meeting, whether you're selling a product or service, you introduce yourself. Here's what we do. Here's what we can. Okay, great. Second part's discovery. Tell me about yourself. Tell me about what's going on. How have XYZ gone? Where is this headed? What's your budget? You ask all these questions. Again, you could be on a date. Tell me what your favorite color is. Tell me what your favorite flower is. Tell me, are you having trouble with your voice? I'm talking about like telecom, but you ask those questions. You get the discovery, right? You listen. You take all that information. Now you've got like 50 different questions answered. Now you've got a puzzle that you're starting to put together. And the the third stage of that discovery is finding a solution. So matching what you sell to what they needed. And the biggest thing for a third aspect of a successful salesperson is being able to take what you got that discovery phase and then put it together in something that person is going to like. So again, in life, right? Go out on a date, it's favorite color, favorite this, favorite that, and you figure out how to adapt and understand that and use that as part of your relationship. Now I know more about you. Now I can engage on your level. Now I know more about what your needs are. Now I can and that is so crucial because you've got this piece and this piece and this piece and this piece, and you've got to be able to take those pieces and think critically. You don't just think in one avenue. You don't put blinders on. You got to keep your blinders off and go, I understand all this. I understand they work for Fortune 500 companies, so they're a third tier decision maker. So they got to go convince their boss. Well, how do I help them convince this boss? Well, they told them that there's like different levels and different facets, and you got to be able to take all those pieces, put them together, and then put the puzzle together, and that's what makes you good. So if you can't think critically, and you think, and you can learn this stuff.
Yep.
This is not something that like one person can do, one person can't. But if you're going to be successful in sales, you got to be able to, again, you got to be motivated by something. Most of the time, it's money. You've got to be able to be curious, ask questions, and you've got to be able to think critical thinking, and keep your blinders off and understand how puzzle pieces fit together. Because once you get the puzzle together, there's your solution. You're creating value. They gave you the different pieces, but you got to put it together to show them, hey, this is your avenue for you to be successful. It's not about you as a salesperson being successful. It's about your customer getting what they need out of it. And once you do that, and that's super tough. I'm not saying that's easy.
Because each customer is different.
Every customer, every person's different. Every organization's different.
Yep.
There's no cookie cutter way about it. Again, that discovery phase could be one call.
Yep.
It could be 50 calls. It could be 300 meetings. I mean, it could be 6 months, 9 months, 12 months. Depends on what you're doing. But I think, for me, that's what makes somebody successful. But that's not something that you're born with. That's something that you can learn and you can adapt to and you can grow off of.
I love that last comment there. It's not something that you are, traditionally born with per se, but something that you can learn over time.
There are things that people are born with.
Well, sure, but I get, I'm taking those words to heart and literally because, I've heard that too with certain things. And I think it's certainly true for like 90% of like anything in life. Like, you don't necessarily have to be born with a certain trait or skill set. Like you can learn over time to become, whatever you want to be. It just comes down to, one, do I have the right attitude? Am I willing to put in the time and effort? And then, two, am I willing to take a step back, reflect on what I'm doing so I can, three, grow? And that's a recipe for success right there.
Absolutely. I mean, you tied that up in a bow because that is kind of like the overarching philosophical point of that statement of you're not born with it is that there are things you're born with. Okay. But there are also things you learn.
Right.
And so I'm going to throw this question back to you. I'm going to lob it over. This is my lob. What the fuck am I lobbing? I'm just going to. I can't
touchdown passes.
I can
tutties.
Like lob a bag of sand or something. I'm gonna lob to you what makes because you're an aspiring professional marketer. So what aspiring I think back on this board, you said, I read it somewhere, you had be the best marketer in the world.
Yeah.
So what makes somebody, what are some like critical factors to being a good and great marketer? And what do you think you need to do to become a great marketer, to be that number one marketer?
Whew. Where do I begin? That's a heck of a question. And I've been
Sandbag.
thinking about that for a while now, and I think the answer is going to evolve, but I'll share what I think it is today. So, in order for me personally to be the best marketer, that really starts with, again, the ability to roll up my sleeves and be willing to learn. Not being, cocky or, hey, I've got this degree or I've taken all these courses. This is what's worked in the past. So I know the proper way to, market myself, whether that's in a business meeting or if that's going out and meeting people in a social setting. Kind of similar things to what you described there. But I think that's the first thing, just being willing to learn, a continual learner. And I know we've talked about that on previous episodes. So tune into, I think it's episode 6 or 7 to learn a little bit more about that. And then 2 is just the ability to choose the path less traveled. And I know that's a cliche saying, but if you're doing everything if you're doing everything that everyone else does, how do you really expect to stand out from the crowd?
Wait, so I'm going to jump in there because I like that point. I'm going to ask you another question before you keep going.
Yeah,
So you're saying don't be afraid basically to do something different.
exactly.
And is that why is that crucial when becoming a better marketer? Why is that crucial to being a great marketer? I think I know, but I want to hear like why you think that's so crucial.
Yeah, well, first and foremost, you're going to set yourself apart. If you're doing something that no one else has seen, now you might get judged, you might get criticized, but if you are the first to market something, or you're just doing something that's clever, that's probably going to help you. Thinking in the traditional sense of just a pile of resumes. If you're applying to a job, if you're just running through some basic bullet points, I mean, they get those. So just some quick advice here. Just use some buzzwords, because there are machines that look for, keywords or buzzwords, as well as just send in something that's a little bit different. Do a video of yourself.
Oh, absolutely.
Why does so-and-so company want to hire Hayden Huber or Cole Hazenfield? Set yourself apart. Now, some people might take that the wrong way, but that's kind of my spin on, okay, how can I make myself stand out? Because there's a lot of other people competing for this job. And I might not be the right fit, and that's all right. And this goes back to some of the points that you made around just being resilient and handling rejection with sales. As I was first entering into the workforce, I probably applied to, I'd say around like 30 or so places, which may or may not be a lot, but yeah, I got used to rejection, at least to some extent. I think we all still hurt at times. There's no beating around the bush there, but yeah, just being willing to, send out a lot of different resumes and marketing myself. I would do a little bit of A/B testing. So I would switch up, some wording on one versus the other, things like that. I think I went down a little bit of a rabbit hole.
Well,
there.
but I like that. You make a good point, because what you're giving an example. From what I'm hearing, you're giving an example of like your point you're making is be different. Like your second point of being a good marketer, right? Being a great marketer.
Yeah.
And I've seen this, and I see this. You see this with like, even for Super Bowl, all these different beer commercials, all these different and like there's some crazy shit you see. Peloton did one with that really cool one where they had the people riding the bike and like their lives were changing and stuff.
Uh-huh.
That was totally different than anything I've ever seen before, and that helped them, right?
Yep.
And that was a risk.
Yep.
That was different. And I think what I hear you're saying, just to clarify for our listeners, is to be a good marketer, you need to be able to step outside and be creative and do something different. You can be another marketer, by doing the same thing everybody else does. By copy and pasting LinkedIn posts, you can do that. That's marketing, but to be a great marketer, you got to get outside of that comfort zone. You got to, and so like the same thing LinkedIn, you got to the applications. You got to get outside of that. Like, okay, yeah, application tracking systems. Okay, buzzwords. But what can I do to make myself stand more? I can add a video, resume. I can do this and that. So no, I'm totally paying. You did, but I'll say to clarify, I think that was a very good example of, hey, get outside. The point you were making, from what I understand, is be creative, be different, take some risks. That's what you have to be a great marketer.
Totally. And one other thing that I'll add, going back to just networking and the power of LinkedIn, like if you're connecting with people, make it something like different than everyone else. Like don't just send the generic, like, thanks for connecting with me. Like send them like a personal message saying like, hey, so-and-so, like I'm really inspired by your work. Can you tell me a little bit more about why? And then also attach some type of value that you can help provide them. Maybe it's something as simple as, hey, I noticed that, and I'm making this very specific, but if it's a small like business owner, but hey, I'm really a big supporter of your company. I did notice that, something that could be improved on your website. Like I could offer this. Like that's how you can at least start to build that relationship, saying like, hey, I can provide you this value. I stand with your brand. And that's just one specific example. But the point that I'm trying to get at, which I kind of started off with, is just don't send that generic connection and just say, thanks for connecting. Like try to make it meaningful, personable to the person. Because at the end of the day, we all want that basic level of human connection. And if you can try to do that, it's going to make your life a little bit easier as you start to build out your professional network.
Be unique.
Amen. Yeah.
Be unique. Yeah, you hit it spot on. Like, and don't connect with people. Just to add to that, don't just connect just to connect. I mean, I get that. Like, you want to get. I mean, rule of thumb, you want to be above 500 connections on LinkedIn. If you're like using LinkedIn actively, you want your thing to pop up 500 plus. That's just like, if you have anything less, it just makes you look like you don't use it.
But why do you think 500?
Marketing.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't show on LinkedIn when you go to somebody's profile, if you're not connected with them.
Yeah.
If you got more than 500, you could have 501. It says 500 plus.
Okay. All right.
That's a little marketing tip.
That's a great tip.
Yeah. So again, once you get, so I'm like kind of like going back and forth. I'm saying don't just connect with people, just connect. But get to 501. At least get to 500.
Might be a little bit hypocritical, but I see what you're saying.
Get to 501.
Yeah.
And then and like he said, don't just send a generic message. Like have a reason. Go to their profile. Look at something interesting. Like read. People would be like, dude, that point, and I'm going on a rabbit hole. People would get so surprised when they talk to me or I introduce myself. Sometimes I'm like, yeah, I saw you went to this college, like, and I saw this project you did, and they're like, how did you know that? Like, it's like you have it on.
I did some basic research.
Yeah, it's
he blasted it out to the world, right?
Like I'll be like, yeah, I saw it on your. I said, you know, what blows my mind is when people like you'll have a meeting or something, and then people like will first time and like especially in sales or like a business meeting, they'll rattle off all the shit that's on their website to you, like introduce that to you, and I'm like, yeah, I knew that because I read I went through your website.
Yep.
Like I appreciate you reiterating that to me. But I was hoping you were going to tell me something different than exactly what it says on your website. Again, I'm going down a wormhole there. I'm going to call it a wormhole instead of a black hole. That's a black hole.
Yeah, I think one last thing I do want to touch on, though, in terms of what makes a good marketer or marketing professional is just, someone that is, again, willing to stand out from the crowd. I know I'm kind of repeating myself, but is willing to be comfortable being uncomfortable because they're doing things that other people haven't done. And again, that example with just like, how do I set myself apart if I'm applying to a new company, like a video, resume or conversation around why they should hire you, I think is extremely vital. At least if I'm the hiring manager, I think that would make me more likely to, carve out some time and set up an interview with that person. And yeah, I think, again, which kind of touches on some of the stuff that you've mentioned, marketing is everything, or sales and marketing are heavily correlated. Everything that we do, whether that's business, not business, in one shape or another, it is essentially marketing. And I know I'm overusing that word here probably, but
We're talking about it, so it's okay to overuse.
yeah, right. I mean, maybe I just need to get the word marketing tattooed on my forehead at this point.
I like that.
No, I think that's a dumb idea.
Yeah, we'll make a bet on that.
You know how I said that you should stand off from the crowd? That might be a little bit too much there.
Yeah, your lip. No regrets.
No regrets.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I think sales and marketing are great aspects for everyone to take a look at implementing in their life, as we both agree upon. Those are basically foundational building blocks to building out your professional career. And you and I certainly don't know all the answers, and we're still learning.
Oh yeah, we do. We know everything.
we're working on knowing
Speak for yourself.
Everything. Yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
Can I throw something? I'm gonna throw a question for you.
Go for it.
Do you think everybody has the ability to be creative?
Yeah, for sure. But at the same time, what is your definition of being creative? Life is very subjective, but if I, Hayden Huber, think that I am not a creative person, then more likely than not, I'm not going to be a creative person. But if I have that mindset that says, hey, I can be creative, or I can do, whatever, and I know we all hear that, like, you can certainly make some big changes in your life. Now, it's going to take a lot of time, and I know I'm deviating from your original question there, but again, and I'm big on this, it all starts with that belief or that mindset. And you're going to fight with yourself at times. There might be that voice in your head that's like, no, you can't do this. Like, that's bullshit. Ignore that. I mean, and that can always be there, but you're going to have to be willing to struggle or wrestle with that and fight through it. So yeah, I would say that everyone can be creative.
I just think that's you hear people do. It's another thing that people say, you're a born salesperson. Well, I'm just not creative. And it's like, why? Like, you're telling yourself that you're not going to be creative if you say you're not creative. Like, yep. So you're sitting there talking about like marketing, right? And this like applying places, and people like to give themselves an out by saying I'm not creative or I don't know that stuff. And it's like, fuck, give me a fucking break. Okay, go do some research. Go look at somebody else's things they've done.
Right.
You can be creative by copying somebody's idea. And
the art of stealing.
You don't have to reinvent the wheel, okay? There's a bunch of like Tesla. I mean, they got a cool look. They didn't invent the fucking car, right. Okay? They just made it look really cool for an electric car, right? Ford is making slight creative changes to their F-150s. You can take an idea and you can adapt it to what's for you. That's using that creativeness. And I also think like people like to go, oh, I'm not creative or I'm not this, and they stop. They just tell themselves that mindset. They tell themselves they're not something, and they don't just push through the block, right? And I've been working through on a project that I've had a big mental block lately, and I'm sitting there. I keep using the F word. I'm not going to stop.
Yeah, we're gonna have to rate this R.
Yeah, that's explicit, but I'm not going to stop working on it until I get that breakthrough because I know it's close. And I think that's where people tend to stop. They tell themselves they're not something, so they don't even try, or they say they're not something, and when they get put in a position where they could make it better, like being creative, they go, I don't want to put the effort, or I don't think I'm good enough. And it's like, do both. Put the effort in and tell yourself you're good enough. That's half the battle. That's 90% of the battle.
Yeah, I think a big thing, too, is people, they'll start to, using your example, they'll work on ways for them to be, creative, whether that's them watching, YouTube videos on, how to be a creator or something like that. But they might not start to see the results right away, and they quickly give up. And that can be applied to so many different facets in life where, okay, I wanted to lose 10 pounds or I wanted to gain 10 pounds of muscle. I'm 2 months in and I'm really not seeing much of a change. Well, don't give up. You might need to alter your strategy. Maybe your diet isn't that great, and that's why you aren't losing as much weight. You might be busting your ass in the gym, but your diet's what's killing you. Or maybe it's you're not getting enough sleep, so you're not fully performing in the gym to your fullest potential because you're just fully you're physically drained. So basically, just look for ways to strategically change up, your strategy at times if you're not seeing the results, and just recognize that results sometimes take a long time, and there's really no right or wrong answer in terms of how long it's going to be. You just got to be willing to head down that journey, and applying that to this podcast show here. And I've touched on it before. We're only about 10 episodes in. We're seeing a lot of great feedback. You and I would love to have like 1 million subscribers by now, but that's a little bit unrealistic. But the thing is, we're going to consistently put in the time and the effort to grow our brand, as well as just work on our content. So we're engaging. We're going to elevate our audio, our visuals, just all aspects so we can become better creators and put out way more value to the world. But we both understand that this is going to be a journey, and it might take us a year or two to be really good, but we're willing to consistently put in the time. And as we were talking offline, we might need to change some of our strategy if we're seeing that, our results are stagnant 6 months in, which is fine. We know what our end goals are. But we might need to change up, how we are developing certain content for certain platforms, such as what do we want to push out on LinkedIn versus an Instagram or on like a TikTok. By the way, we don't have a TikTok account, at least not yet.
I could do some really good TikTok dances.
You could dance, yeah.
Dude, I'm telling you, I could break it down.
So yeah, I think it all comes back to, how am I willing to grow and put myself in positions to be comfortable being uncomfortable? And I'm working on that, all the time. It's not easy.
Well, they literally, and I think I'm going through some of that right now, so I can relate to that comment. There's things you do that are uncomfortable, but you just like forget what being uncomfortable feels like until you're there.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, it's kind of an icky feeling. Like you just want to shake it off. You're like,
I think everyone might feel a little bit different with it.
You feel like you get I mean, for me, I feel like sometimes I feel like, meaning like it's supposed to be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Like uncomfortable, it comes out in different fashions, different facets, different feelings, different.
Right. Feelings is what I was looking for.
Different feelings. Everybody feels it differently.
Yeah.
But there's never been a time in life, in my opinion, when you go through a time in life, as long as it's a positive thing, and you feel like kind of like antsy or like anxious about something because you're putting yourself out on a limb, that's a good thing. Like be excited when you go after something and you feel that that tingling, like, oh, like I'm doing something different, I'm doing something new, and this I don't know what to expect. Like that, lean in, put your pedal to the fucking floor and lean into that.
You're dropping F-bombs left and right. Yeah. Are you Gary V's cousin or something?
Gary V's going to be on here.
All right. Yeah. Gary V, we'd love to have you. Let's make it happen.
Dude, throttle down on that uncomfortable feeling, especially when it's something that you want. Throttle down. Go all in.
No one wants what you want, right? Only you know. And what are you going to do to put yourself in those positions?
Amen.
And as we've both mentioned, we're dealing with stuff that we're working through that. It's certainly not easy. It's a process. But yeah, you just got to be willing to deal with whatever those feelings are associated with being, quote unquote, uncomfortable. So
I think that's a wrap.
You think it's a wrap? I think we could dive into other things, but yeah, let's call it an episode for today. But we would love to probably talk a little bit more about both sales and marketing in some future shows, get a little bit more substantial, but definitely touched on some really good stuff today.
I think we need to bring in, too, to that point, I look forward to bringing in other sales
Professionals.
minded sales professionals, whether they're, in all different facets. Every CEO is the best salesperson in the company. You kind of have to be, to a degree, in my opinion, depending. But, bringing some different voices on those topics that we can learn from, because we don't know everything and we're young, we're still learning. So I think that'd be great for us to dive into those more with some professionals in those areas and get a fresh take on that.
Totally. But we had some good tips around, LinkedIn and how to market yourself.
Oh, absolutely.
Differently. Yeah. Well, hey, let's wrap things up. Want to say thank you, as always, to everyone that's tuning in. We are really excited to continue to produce awesome content. We are growing, and we're only going to get better. Isn't that right, Cole?
Amen, Brother Ben.
Do you think we can get a applause from the crowd that we've got here in the studio today?
Jimmy.
Hey, Jimmy, hit the button.
Jimmy, get
buddy.
back in here. Hit the button.
Look at that. All right, folks, we are signing off. Thank you once again. Please reach out to us at unscriptedexchanges@gmail.com and stay tuned for some more fire content.
Thank you, guys.
Peace out.